Yo, what's up guys? As usual, it's your boy Lahima here, and today I want to be showing you guys how to make super hard hitting heavy kicks like Aries or break-ins that you hear in pretty much all their tracks and songs. And we're actually going to be using an Aries kick for a frame of reference to develop our kick around, and we're going to be doing this from scratch. With that being said, let's go and hop right in. So before making the kick, I think it's best to talk about some kick sound design theory. So making a kick drum basically boils down into 6 steps. So the first step is designing the initial transient, or the click of the sound. The next step is designing the body of the sound, which you're going to be using a sawtooth wave instead of a sine wave to do this. And then lastly, we have the release of the sound, which generally is kind of the texture of the kick. That's kind of the trailing factor that we hear. That's what I would generally say is the big distinguishing factor from kick drum to kick drum. It's kind of like the tail of the kick. Next off, what we want to do is just compress. The compression is basically going to allow us to glue all these parts together since they're running through the same effect. Then we saturate it to generate some upper harmonics. And then lastly, to get the punch of the kick, what we're going to do is we're going to soft clip it. Ableton by default does not actually have a soft clipper, but we can actually configure the glue compressor to be a soft clipper by enabling the soft clipping function and disabling the compressor function of it. So I know it's a little heady, so let's hop right in and start designing this thing. So just to kind of walk you guys through everything that's on screen right now, I have a rack that I'm using to actually make the kick drum, and it's literally just a wavetable. And just some processing. We're obviously going to be disabling all the processing and then working up from there. Then I have a kick from Aries himself. This is from his Patreon that he had a while ago. It's no longer available for whatever reason. And then just a kick that I made, kind of a finished product from an upcoming sample pack that I'm working on. So let's start off by listening to the Aries kick and then listening to my kick and see how close they sound. As you can see, that kick's super heavy. It's got a lot of high end. It's super punchy. A lot of good stuff going on. Let's listen to mine. So it's pretty close. It's pretty close. His has a little bit more high end in it, probably because he used a different type of distortion. But the main thing is that punch is definitely there. It's super aggressive kick. So now let's get into the actual design. So the first thing we're going to do is just kind of choose an appropriate waveform for the kick. So because Aries kicks are so bright, and actually have a lot more grit to them, I thought that the sawtooth wave was probably the best choice for that reason. So then what I did from there is I just filtered it out. I have the filter setting about 1K. The reason why is that I want to cut out most of the higher frequencies but have still a little bit left, so I don't want to do a crazy cut. So with those parameters added, this is what the kick sounds like so far. So as you can hear, it almost sounds more akin to like an 808, less than a kick. So we're going to be changing that using the amplitude envelope. So essentially what the amplitude envelope is doing is it's acting as essentially the shape of a kick. So for a kick drum, what we need is frequencies, or we need a volume automation, a volume curve that is very short and blippy. So for that reason, we're going to turn on the sustain all the way, and we're going to have our decay to be somewhere around 200. You can do it according to taste, but I generally find for these style of kicks, they're a little bit longer. So you want them at least somewhere around 200, if not a little bit longer. So this is what it sounds like now with the amplitude envelope. So as you can see now, it definitely has a more kick shape to it. But the next thing we need to do is add in the actual click of the sound to really give us that kick sound. So the click of the sound comes from using a pitch envelope. You can use whatever pitch envelope you want, or you can even splice out kind of another kick, and that's what we're going to do later to kind of really push this thing forward. So for the pitch envelope, what you want to do is just take the sustain, bring it down all the way, and adjust it accordingly. I find that for the duration of the pitch envelope, you want the decay to be also in the same range, somewhere around 200. So we'll leave ours at about 200 on the dot, 200 milliseconds. And then from there, what you're going to do is just go in here and attach envelope 2 to pitch envelope. You want it to be about 16, 15, somewhere in that range. And this is what our kick sounds like now. So definitely sounds a lot more kicky. You can exaggerate the transient by, increasing the decay or increasing it. So like I said, somewhere around here is good. So that pretty much handles the majority of the kick processing. The next part is just to actually soft clip the kick, because as you can see in Aries kick drum, it's heavily compressed. There's not a lot of dynamics to it. So to get that kind of soft clipped sound, what we want to use is Ableton soft clipper. So we first start off by adding a utility and placing the sound in mono, and this way we'll keep the kick in the center, and then we'll add a glue compressor on. The glue compressor will be in soft clipper mode. And basically what this does is that when the sound reaches the threshold of the compressor, instead of just actually hard clipping it, it soft clips it, so it just rounds out the tips. So with that, we get this sound. And so as you can hear, it sounds completely different. It's a lot more hard hitting and a lot more crazier. And this is exactly what we want, a super hard hitting kick. So next thing we're going to do is be adding some saturation. This will just brighten the sound up a little bit. So what I did here is I just essentially have the dry signal and then just a heavily saturated version of the same signal. And then I'm just blending them together. So I think usually it depends on how much, drive you're adding for the saturation, but somewhere 20 or less is good. So as you can hear, sounds perfectly fine. It's a super hard hitting kick and exactly what we want. And lastly, we just want to increase the gain some more, so it's somewhere around 0. And as you can hear, super hard hitting, crazy hard hitting kick. So let's go ahead and sample that out. And so this is our kick. And so if we do a comparison between the two kicks, you can clearly see that they're pretty similar. The initial waveform, his has a little bit more transient to it, but the initial waveform is basically almost identical. His tips are a little more rounded, mine are a little bit more hard clipped, but they're basically the same. And this brings me to the last step, which is actually combining kicks. So if I like the transient from a particular kick, I'll actually cut it out like so, and then just add it to mine. And then I'll just fade between them. And so we probably need just a little bit better spot. Somewhere around there, yeah. And just crossfade them between them. And we'll get kind of a combo kick of the two. And so there you go, we got a super hard hitting kick. Crazy hard hitting kick. So the main thing to keep in mind when kind of making these style of kicks is that you definitely want to make sure you use the correct volume envelope and then soft clip. That's kind of the main two steps that will really give you that sound. And then you just have to dial in the kind of the body of a kick according to kind of what you want. And yeah, that pretty much is it for today, guys. As usual, if you like the video and you like me, go to make sure to smash the subscribe button and hit that bell button so you stay notified when I post new stuff. Also, while you're at it, if you haven't already, go to make sure to comment on this video as well and let me know what you want to see next. Also, make sure to join the Discord. We pal around in there, kid around. You can ask me any questions you want, or just come out and chill, share some demos, spit the shit. Also, while you're at it, go to make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Lahima Beats. I post cool content all the time, like Gurus and stuff I'm working on. And if you want to support the channel, check my affiliate links down below. I have a affiliate link for DistroKid where you get 7% off your first year of purchase, and also another one for a cool MIDI guitar called Jammy, where you get $50 off for your purchase of the Jammy, all provided for me, and the proceeds go to this channel. So as usual, guys, it's nice seeing you guys again. Lahima, out.